Hello, it's Richard Bowser here from Property Investor News. Today I'm in Southampton with Bronwen and John Vearncombe. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Hi, Bronwen. Good to see you here. We're down here in Southampton at a local conference event where you hold an evening meeting for the PIN network. Yeah. So let's just hear a little bit about what you've been doing in recent years and your sort of story in terms of getting into property investment. So how do you get started?
Well, it's an interesting story actually, because both John and I were commuting, working full-time, two children, you know, the treadmill.
Yes.
I was in banking, John was in IT consulting. And, you know, we had this sort of aha moment when we thought, we've got all this savings in shares, bank shares and things. What are we going to do with them? And how risky is just leaving them there? So we decided that we would get all the options, the share options out and liquidate them and then buy property, because we thought, well, that's probably a safe bet. You know, we might get 5 or 6% if we're lucky. So that's what we did. We put a deposit on a flat in Winchester, actually. Oh, right. Yes. And then we thought, well, I'm sure we could do this better. We better sort of learn a little bit about it. We had no experience. We just gave it to the agent to manage.
Right.
And we thought, well, if we could do this better, will we be able to find... We'll be able to replace our income, basically. We'll be able to cut down the hours of working. Yes. And might we get our lives back? Might we have time with our loved ones? Might we have time together to do the things that we've always wanted to do? I don't know about you, but I was asked, how long would I need to work to get my pension?
Yes.
And it was going up and up and up.
Quite.
So once we started to educate ourselves, we bought a book, we went to a couple of network meetings, and we thought, if what they're telling us is true, we could make this work. This could work for us. Yes. So we thought, well, let's do a course, let's learn a little bit. We did a 3-day course, which was going to tell us all about the different strategies. So it's really trying to take what looked really complicated and break it down. And then we said, well, okay, we could set our goals, and maybe let's do a training course that involves coaching and mentoring. And that means that we would have our hands held.
Yes.
And I think for both of us, with busy jobs and a busy life, that would give us the momentum and the regular sort of every month knowing where are we against what we set our goals at. So for us, that was really important. For other people, it's different.
So at that time, you had the one property. Yeah. And you took part in that process of education at the start, and were you starting to acquire more properties during that?
Yeah. So this was only 3 years ago.
Right.
Now.
Yes, it's
so
quite a quick.
It was a pretty much a vertical learning curve, but during that first year, we did really, really well. We surprised ourselves. We were able to generate a portfolio of about just over £2 million worth of property and replace John's income. So the great thing was that he was able to leave his job shortly after that first year. Yes. And we did that mainly through houses of multiple occupation, so HMOs across Hampshire. Mainly we started in Southampton and then we moved across to Portsmouth, mainly because of property prices, Article 4, different opportunities really. But during that year, we learned a lot about lots of other strategies. And as we were looking, as we got to know estate agents, as we kept viewing properties, we found opportunities with some that were even more exciting for us. Yes. So, for example, a freehold to leasehold split. Yes. We made it more complicated in that we were able to convert one property into 6 flats. And then it had a very large garden. So we were able to, through our knowledge, to consider retaining the freehold, retaining the garden, selling the flats.
This is one we're going to look at later?
It is,
okay.
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Okay, well, we can talk more about that one at the site itself. Yeah. So you mentioned during the first year, the process really of where you acquired around £2 million worth of property. You was generated sufficient cash flow, rental cash flow, yes, in that first year or so, and through HMOs. So,
Yeah.
and these were in Southampton, and then you moved over to doing Portsmouth as well?
Southampton and Portsmouth, yes. Moved across to Portsmouth. Carried on with the HMO strategy
Yes.
because it was something that we'd learnt well, and we'd got our power team in place, and it was
Yes.
fairly easy to replicate that.
Yes.
But in our second year, we set our sights on commercial, really. We said, if we can put up that much effort into an HMO, if we added a zero onto our purchases, we might have less competition, we might be able to do something a bit more exciting or just go bigger.
Yes.
So we started to look, we were continuing to learn, and we started to buy some large commercial properties. And
Right.
we found a strategy there that that's working really well for us, which
Good.
is short-term letting.